Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today for the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to be here. Appreciate you.
Me too. Yeah. And before we get into your good work,
Hmm.
6 years ago, this pandemic changed our lives. Lots of things, including technology. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you do work and live today?
Wow, it really just kind of catapulted me forward because I was with an organization and we were planning this big in-person event coming up. It wasn't like around the beginning of the pandemic. It was coming up in the fall. And I was so excited. I'm like, "Look, let's just, pivot." But I was like, I'm always the one on the edge, right?
Yeah.
But so in a good way, it changed because I just went, head in on, showing up online, doing webinars, attending webinars, just really getting into that virtual space in a heavy way. Even did a couple of I facilitated some memorial services, produced those through Zoom. So that was cool. And but on the if you want to say on a negative side, how it changed, still sitting around events and branding and visibility. One of my revenue centers is ad specialties. So the promotional items, some of those orders got nixed because events got nixed. Were canceled. So yeah.
So let me ask you this. There's a
Hmm.
lot going on with what you do on a daily basis. And to synthesize that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 13-year-old kids at career day. And one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you boil all of that down to make it make sense to them?
Wow. All right, kids. I know you're excited. Your brains are flying up and everything, and you want to know what I do. You were grabbing me. We were coming in from the hallway. But it's all about this, right? It's all about showing up and just being who you are. Visibility. I help business owners be visible. Can you get with that a little bit?
Makes total sense. And it's totally, to me, I mean, the small business community is the one that's the backbone of the economy in this country at the end of the day. And they
Yes,
probably need the most help.
absolutely. Because they're in the trenches, they're doing what they do. They promote, but not really, and some of them are shy about promoting because they don't want to, come up braggadocious or arrogant. But I mean, that's part of that's part of being a successful business owner is promoting, right?
So
Hmm.
let's take you back to your beginnings when you were that age. What did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream gig?
Oh, wow. I think I had wanted to be a singer.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'm still in the music space and not big, at all, but I produced my first song, or it was actually my second. I think it was my actually my third song, but I haven't done anything with them. And I went to Ghana a few weeks ago, and I took that song with me for kids. It was at a school there, and I taught them the song. But so to kind of digress, but yeah, so I wanted to be a singer, but as I progressed on, I really wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to be.
So take me back to your beginnings. Are you originally from Cleveland?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
born, raised, and fed.
Okay. So take me back to your beginnings. How did music, technology, travel, all of these things to help small business folks, how did all of these initial seeds get planted, whether it was parents or family or mentors? How did this happen?
Yeah, it would be music definitely was parents. There was always music in the home. And my mother was a teacher. My father is a certified craftsman. He did auto painting. And but he was a singer too. So we were raised up in the church. So there was the choir. So the music has always been, a thread going through everything, my siblings had done. So that was always there. And my mother was with being a teacher, she was very organized, and that I'm glad the camera is not over here because there's chaos surrounding me. But anyway, so she was always organized, and she went back to school and finished in her 30s. So we went to so sometimes we would go to school with her. So I saw that part as well, and it's the education piece, and my father being creative. My mom was creative too, but my father was a different type creative, and he did video and took pictures, and all the kids, we all had a little camera or whatever, but I never really, I always took pictures, I always did that, but I wasn't too much into video as far as being behind the camera. But all of these things, if you look at what I do today, they're all a part of what I do.
Yeah.
There's the video, there's the teaching, and I never wanted to be a teacher. I'm saying that flat out because it was like almost expected, because it went back to slavery probably, because my grandmother, who died before I was born, was a teacher, and I just didn't want to be it. But you can't hide, you can't run from who you are.
Yeah.
And so I probably have been teaching, but in a different way my entire life. And now I have online courses, and it's crazy how you end up where you start.
What was the first computer? What was the first real seminal computing experience that hooked you, that made you think, I'm not going to be afraid of technology. I'm going to embrace and evolve with it?
Oh wow. It I never even had that thought, because that was just part of me. And so the first jobs that I had were secretary jobs. So we had typewriters.
Yeah.
And I always took those typewriters to another level. And when I think about Microsoft and Microsoft Excel in particular, it's a spreadsheet, right? You put data in there, you can sort stuff around. It's not a data, they do have databases, but for the point of my story, I'm just going to stick with Excel. And so one of the jobs I had was in the fundraising department, still the secretary, but we had to aggregate data. So we had an event. Okay, how many schools participated? Who was the schools? How many students? The teachers, the prizes, the money that came in. So you see all you can. If right now you can see tabs, right? And necessity is the mother of invention. I mean that saying is old and still true. I literally on the typewriter, I made a form. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm getting chills thinking about it. And I'm like, I'm in the poorhouse, and this man that created created Excel. So, so these ideas and everything have been floating around forever, but then it was brought into the technology world. So I was always designing forms. So that was a typewriter. Then the next job, General Electric, that was the American Heart Association. And so they're doing American Heart Month, right? Go Red. Um, same type of thing happened, except we were in computers then. And I needed a form. And I designed a form. Then we had was like Word, what was it called? Word Perfect, yes,
Yeah.
Word Perfect. And I designed a form, all the lines, and all the engineers, they were all impressed, their PhDs and masters. But it was just something, that was like natural for me to do. And if I could back up real quick, back to the Heart Association, we had the big giant word processors. I know you know about that. And
Right.
then Mass 11 came along. So you had your internal server, this big thing. It was in a room, and her name was Nancy. So she was into computer science then. I didn't even know what this stuff was.
Yeah.
And but just I was just real excited about that. I just went whatever it came, I was just there. I was on it. A real curious mind, if you will.
So, who's been your inspirational force that's allowed you to navigate and evolve in your career to this point?
Oh my goodness. I guess in a quiet way, it would have to have been my parents,
Yeah.
because they weren't afraid to do things and try things, and they raised their families. They traveled, and they took us with them. So they planted those seeds of just being able to have an open mind, or be a sponge, and take things in.
So, if you could meet a inspirational, high-powered entrepreneur, tech person, somebody in that ilk, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh gosh, she's not here, but I want to talk to Steve Jobs.
Okay. Okay. What would you want to know? What if you got around that level of tech acumen? What would you want to know?
I would probably ask some of the same questions you asked me. What was the spark? Like, how did you conceive a computer? And if you want to just go ahead and bring Microsoft in there, what is a program, and how did that come out of your mind and into the tangible world? and you stuck with it. You didn't give up. And there may have, the thing is, we're on the outside looking in. You're on the outside looking in on me. So we see the current, what the outcomes. But what were the doubts, or did he have doubts along the way, or was what kind of discouragement, and how you overcome? Because that's important. Because I think a lot of us, we go through these things, but what's more important is how we overcome them, and so we can teach that next generation. Because everyone's gonna have some type of setback or some type of fear that, oh my God. Because I know sometimes with me, I'll just do things because I can do them, and then if you step back and you I look at what I've done, I'm like, oh my God. It kind of scares me. It's kind of frightening in a way.
So when you're with your family, since you're the tech diva, are you the one that gets all the questions? I mean, if something goes down tech wise, you're the one?
Believe it or not, I wasn't. It was my older sister.
Okay.
And we were all hands-on, we're all mechanical, so we can put together the cabinets and set up the TVs and the sound bars and all of that stuff. But I guess since she was the oldest, we navigated to her first. So pretty much it's four of us. We all have that acumen.
Yeah.
So unfortunately I'm not the standout, but
So what about Apple and Microsoft? What do you prefer when it comes to like hardware and operating and the whole environment? What if you have your druthers, what do you use?
Oh man, I'm an Apple girl all
Okay.
the way.
Okay.
And I didn't start there because I'm trying to see what came first, because everyone, we pretty much were desktop, Windows based, everything pretty much with DOS and all of that. So that's how I was introduced to it. And when the public school system here in Cleveland had got turned over, and they're doing Apples, the big bubble looking machine, the E machines and all that. My mother had one and she had brought it home, and me and a friend of mine, we were trying to figure out how to set this thing up. So I think that was probably, oh my gosh, 30 years ago. It had to been, it was a while ago. But yeah, but once I got a taste though of that apple, and it was, I just couldn't go back. I mean, everything is connected.
I still have my first Apple that I bought. I got a MacBook back in '08, and I still have it. It's still functional. It's like there's
Hmm.
something about that product line. Because my first Packard Bell that I bought, um,
Yeah.
back in the early '90s, that thing, it just kind of fell apart like an old car. But Macs just have a way of staying together,
Yeah,
you
they
know.
really do. And I'm sitting up here with three, the MacBook and the desktop, and my first desktop I got in 2010. It's over there.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. The one thing about computers and technology is that, there's Moore's law and things duplicate over a year or so, but AI is duplicating and triple duplicating every day. What's your take on AI? Does it make you nervous? Do you harness it? Do you use Chat GPT? Where are you at in this whole tech evolution that we're at right now?
Oh yeah, I'm in with both feet. I didn't start there. As a creative person, I was like, well, if I do this, then it's not going to be me, or I'm gonna somehow I'm a fraud or whatever, But when I once I got in there, and I started really, the podcast side of, because I write all my titles, my descriptions, all of that stuff comes right out of my head. But once I put that to ChatGPT, that's the main one that I use, and started doing that, I'm like, oh, I was not going back. And so now, okay, help me keep, there's the workshops, there's, the articles, there's everything now, but just one, point, I know for you, but for the audience, you still have to, the human side is still there. You still have to read it, you need to tweak it, and but if it's your content, and it just, we're doing things now at the speed of light.
So what is that motivation every day for you to wake up to do this work? Because there's a learning curve with technology that you got to stay up on top of. We're always evolving, things are always developing, but you have a job to do. You have lives to affect, you have your own soul to take care of. So when that alarm clock goes off in the morning and your feet hit the ground, what is that collective energy for you?
Oh, what am I going to do today? What am I going to create?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And who's gonna benefit from this?
And being in the business of helping small businesses and business minds get to another place, what was one of the early clients for you that really hooked you? Or when did you realize what you were doing for small businesses made sense? This was your destiny in life.
Gosh, we're gonna go back to before I started. And I had went to a gospel music workshop and I really, here we go, music, right? And I really got a lot out of it. And the people who put it together, they were, I talked to them or whatever, and I said, well, can I, and I, on the sidebar, I'm a graphic designer, but I didn't know I was, okay. And I've been doing that since typewriters, putting things together with the cut and paste and the copy machine and all that. But they were having a concert, I think it was, or something. And I said, I really want to do something for you. So we're having this event, whatever, design the flyer. So they designed this really awesome flyers. Probably, that was, oh my God, back in 1991 or something. So it's probably hideous if we look at it today. But everything would be lined up though,
Uh-huh.
because what is it? Art is math and math is art. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
And so his friend, she looked at it and she goes, and this is how her little face, she does these kind of, serious looks. You should be doing this as a business. And the way her words just, it's like my pores were open and her words got all in me. And there was the light switch. Choop, you pulled the chain. And next thing you know, I was looking at, state papers and
Yeah.
getting legit and all that. My mom helped me get my first computer and a Pentium, whatever. It was a company that their name was Cleveland Typewriter, believe it or not. So then of course they added and computer when the things changed. But I was able to go inside of there, change motherboards, add memory. I mean, I could, it was great.
Yeah.
And the oldest Mac that I have here, I actually added some extra RAM to that. Of course, you can't do that anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, back in the good old days, you could. So
Hmm.
let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 18-year-old version of you, ready to charge out into the world and work and change the world. And you had a big coffee table book in your hands at your age now, and you handed it over, and it was your life that you've led, the choices you've made, the evolution that you've gone through. Would that young version of you believe that your life has become what it is today?
No. Mm-mm. So I would encourage that person, like, this is my story. She said book, right? I said, take this and I want you to hold it close to your heart, because there are going to be times when you're not going to believe in yourself. You're excited now, but your life is going to go like this. That roller coaster that you like to ride, that's your life. But remember, when you go down, you will come up again. So be encouraged, guard your dreams, share them with the ones who can help you realize them.
So what is it like to travel? You've just said you came off a big trip for a couple weeks. Do you travel a lot?
Um, In a way, I do, but no, because the past recent years, it's just been kind of family trips that I would go visit my family because they moved down south. So I used to go out west every year, go to Nevada, and then and my cousin were down in California, so we would do that. And then my sisters and one of my nieces got in on it. So in a way, I travel, but not like what happened this year.
Yeah.
And this year was incredible. And I went to Ghana, first time over in Africa, and any real, out of our hemisphere,
Yeah.
international travel. Most of us have been to Canada and the Bahamas, but that was the first big trip, and to really learn, and see what other people are doing somewhere else that's not close.
Did it, things are really weird in America. They've been weird for a little while now, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Did it give you a level of, by going into another country and coming back, did it give you any level of reverence for what's still good in this country, or how did it change your perspective?
It changed my perspective from the standpoint that people, and I always like to believe this, that people are inherently good,
Yeah.
but and kind, and those folks over there in Ghana, they were just happy. They were just so grateful and welcoming. You know, there it was you're human, so welcome home,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when coming back, I wanted to bring that same energy back with me, and because I think we can be so judgmental, and inward as well, and looking down on ourselves as well as others. So I just want to, have that elevated thinking.
You know,
Have you?
I've never been there, but when I talk to people that come back, they always tell me there's this idea in America of want, more, want, more. But when you go to a place like Africa and you're with the locals, there's just this level of being in the moment, almost this Buddhist nature of just letting life happen and
Yeah,
embracing it and not always needing to have more stuff, more things.
yeah, absolutely. And it's like can't wait to thin out. I'm gonna probably hoard my books. Although I did take a couple of books with me to the school over there because they have a library, and that was kind of fun just to bring some of the books over there. But but yeah, we have too much stuff.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. So, of everything that you've done with your life, everything you've evolved to, accomplished, overcome, what are you the happiest about, the proudest of?
Oh man. I think oh wow, I shouldn't say I think. My proudest accomplishment may be just bringing forth my knowledge and not being afraid to share it. I still have apprehension because as an entrepreneur, we hold our creativity, our creations close, even though we created them to give them away.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I would probably say my online courses, yeah, because that's where I want to end up, just on that teaching side that I didn't want to be.
yeah, for sure. So, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, everybody that is a part of your world, students, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh God, I'm just this little old lady. Oh, I shouldn't say that 'cause people go. I'm just someone who, when I look at myself, I think I'm just a caring person who wants to help. That's my nature, and now that I know from my African name, we went through a naming ceremony. My name means queen,
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
and every queen is a warrior. And I think that I've been fighting for people. I'm a fighter, but more for others than for myself.
yeah, yeah,
It's easy to fight for you, Joe, and to
yeah,
stand up for you than it is for me to do it for myself.
sure.
But I've learned though over time, and because you have to separate that emotion from fighting for yourself or standing up for yourself, and be more in from come from a more of an intellectual and just a fact-based side. Because when you come from an emotional side, it's like, I'm here, I can do this too. Why aren't you calling on me? Then it comes, you don't get anywhere with that, and just come off as just a big whiny person.
Yeah, yeah. So if anybody wants to delve into your world, they want to hire you, any of the questions, any of the good business, where's the best place to go?
Here, audreywiggins.com.
Okay, that's easy.
And you can fan out from there. Yes, audreywiggins.com.
Okay, I will put links to the show notes. Audrey, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I really appreciate you. This has been amazing.
Yes, thank you.